I'd just say welcome to the podcast pretty much,
Yeah.
and then figure the rest of it out later. So that's what I'll do. All right. Well, Nathaniel, welcome to the podcast today. This is actually, I believe, our fourth video in about 2 weeks. We did a couple podcasts at one of your recent listings, as well as a listing walkthrough video. But today we're just going to kind of talk about a little recap of what's going on for December. You recently had a closing and some other stuff going on with you. So I just kind of wanted to get into a quick end of the year update and maybe a little bit of season's greetings and kind of go from there. So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me back. It'll be nice to just kind of summarize the year and go into the holidays.
Yeah, so tell me about your recent closing. I noticed this one in particular because it's right next door to one of my previous clients. And I said, oh, hey, that's a great neighborhood there, Quinault Loop over in Lacey. And tell me a little bit about the listing and the sale and how that whole process went for you this time of year.
I got a call from from an old friend, and he wanted something. We went over the criteria that he was looking for, and we started looking right away. Took 2 days, and we had found something that really fit. And I thought it was going to take a lot longer. I'm a lot more patient at times, and let's really find you a house that's going to fit. Well, this one just did, and we jumped on it right away. Got in quick, got a nice offer in, and process was real smooth and seamless.
Did you guys close this week or did you close last week?
Yeah, we just wrapped up yesterday.
Okay, so kind of over the Thanksgiving weekend. So any hitches with there? Anything for people to be, anything for people to know about if they have a closing that's going through holiday season?
We were prepared for that. So we actually looked at, when we were writing our offer, what is our timeline going to be like, and took into account that, we're going to have a short week there. And so when we planned it out, we made sure that we left enough wiggle room there that we were going to be able to wrap up anything if we had any bumps or issues like that. We did make a couple of adjustments throughout the process, but really we got it all done on time. And again, it was very, very seamless.
And so it's pretty easy to count for that stuff if you plan ahead, because typically it's going to be about a 30-day closing, right? Unless the seller or the buyer has other constraints. Maybe they want to take extra time. Maybe the seller needs extra time to move out, so you might do 60 days in that case. But typically it's going to be like 21 to 30 days, so you can generally plan for that stuff pretty good. But a word of caution for anybody, if they do have a holiday, especially Christmas, New Year's coming up, because those are business holidays that can impact your closing schedule, and just something to be aware of.
Yeah, talk to the lenders ahead of time for sure. Make sure that that everybody that's involved has planned this thing out and has enough time allocated to their part of the process to get it done. The other thing when we're dealing with short weeks and holidays is that our timelines with inspections and things like that can get skewed too. And so I go over it with my transaction coordinator, who's awesome, and make sure that we have all the calendar dates correct, because we don't want to end up missing a timeline due to us being negligent on something like that.
And also when it comes to kind of being prepared and organized for closing, you want to make sure that you're going to be in town around the time that you expect to close. Sometimes you might bump your closing up, you might bump it back. So make sure that you're going to be available for what those plans are. Some lenders are able to have a notary sign you out of state or in different. I've actually had somebody sign their final loan closing documents in Iceland. That was a remote hybrid notary situation. So those things are out there. And in that case, I actually wasn't prepared. The customer called me. I said, hey, we're going to be able to close early if you guys want. Here's our timeframes. They said, oh, we're going to be in Iceland. That's no problem, is it? It's like, I didn't ask you the standard question of will you be in town during closing?
Yeah.
And we were able to make that work because we can do that. Not everybody can do that, though. So I was lucky to have the ability, because if I wasn't at the right place, I would have had to kind of eat my foot there and say, oh, no, what are we going to do? And how are we going to get this closed? You can't really tell somebody to cancel their international vacation.
Right.
So that was something where I'm glad it worked out, but it's just a word of caution from our experience to say, hey, make sure you plan for these things because that's important. Yeah,
a lot of time it becomes more than just the simple 20 questions. You really need to make sure you're dotting I's, crossing T's, and a lot goes into that. We actually used a mobile notary for this one as well, so he was able to sign in his old living room.
That's awesome. Yeah. Those convenient upgrades really make a big difference as far as the easeability of these transactions and being able to feel comfortable. Signing your final loan documents at home versus having to go into a title company, that's just so cool.
Yeah, the convenience is nice.
Okay, well, in other news, I heard from a little bird that your brokerage has moved. And tell me a little bit more about that. You're with Van Dorm, and so give me the history or the scoop on where you guys moved from and to.
Well, Van Dorm's been on the west side of Olympia for, I think, 20 years now. We originally, long before I was brokered, were over in the same building as the Goodwill. Years later, they moved over next to Barnes & Noble and Trader Joe's, which was a fantastic location. I loved it. What I didn't love was the parking, and especially getting in and out of that lot. That lot is so chaotic.
Right off
And
the
it's
freeway.
so popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I did like about it is it was just right down the road from my house, so I was able to zip back and forth as needed. We have since, though, relocated downtown. We're in Percival Plaza, the 600 building in Columbia Street. It's absolutely gorgeous down there. We're right across from the boardwalk. We've got the Sayonara restaurant and Anthony's as neighbors. We're right down from Farmers Market and Dancing Goats Coffee. We did a poll recently, by the way, and Dancing Goats Coffee, it turns out, is Olympia's favorite coffee right now. So
They do have
kudos
a
to
nice,
them.
good hot cup of Joe over there. So
Yeah.
I can back that that recommendation 100%.
Yeah, Olympia Coffee Roasters, I think, had a close second, but Dancing Goats is nice. But yeah, there's just so much stuff down there, and it really is kind of the hub and the heart of Olympia, that it's great to be located in an area that's so centralized.
Well, and it's awesome being downtown because you can sometimes see the mountains. You've got the waterfront right there, and it's a really great, like you say, kind of a heart of the town. It's really easy to be reminded why we love where we live when you get to go downtown and see some of those amenities.
Yeah,
And I know downtown Olympia sometimes, oh, small town, go down there. You have a boardwalk, you have all these restaurants. There's quite a few things to do. And we can talk about later some of the fun seasonal things that there are to do in Olympia right now. But I think it's pretty cool when you can be kind of in a little heart area like that, which is a good representation of the South Sound and what Olympia has that is good to offer is pretty much, shown there in its downtown core.
it's great to meet people down there, and to, instead of sitting down at a desk, let's go walk the boardwalk. And we'll have a conversation. Go down to the Port of Olympia and get a look at it. Some of the stuff, yes, we need a computer in front of us. We need to really sit down and go through the stuff. But for a casual conversation, a quick meet, it's great to go down somewhere like that and just hit a quick restaurant or go grab a cup of coffee and, yeah, just stroll the area.
One, it's awesome that you have an actual location to get some work done. We can work from home as mortgage lenders or from the office, and real estate agents, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
How important is for you having a dedicated workspace that's not your home?
I like to now I have an office at home. I like to have the option to work from home, but I prefer to be in an office setting. I get a lot more motivated when I have other people around me that are doing the same thing and are nose to the grindstone every day. I kind of have a rule of thumb, 40 hours, tail in the chair, right? If I'm not out with a buyer, I really try to make sure that I'm putting in the hours and putting in the time to be effective and available to people that want to come see me.
And I think it's a huge difference because when work from home kind of emerged, let's say the last couple of years, I loved it. I mean, I'm a work from home guy. I kind of love going into my little introverted bubble and doing that. But having an office space to come to for me has also been huge because more professional, less distractions. I have a little baby daughter at home and all my creature comforts there. So it's really easy for me to kind of get sucked into my home life if I'm at home. But just like you said, it's really great to have the flexibility because sometimes my family needs me. I can get a couple hours work done, but then no commute.
Yeah, exactly. If I need to get something done, I have the available space and I have a dedicated office at the house. I can lock it all out. But I want to make sure that when I'm at home, I can be there with my family. I've got a 9-year-old son. He's amazing. The guy is the most energetic person I've ever seen in my life. And I can also, be there to just hang with my wife, which is fantastic because getting to put in some time with her is what this is all about. But I do make sure, that I have an office that I can go to as a professional and be in a professional setting.
Yeah, that's huge. And in the evenings, I try to get a little extra work done as much as I can. But in the evenings, like I'm kind of, like you said, I want to spend some time with my wife, maybe watch a movie or relax a little bit. And sometimes I have to put those boundaries on myself, like, oh, you're going to work tonight, and maybe only hang out for 20 or 30 minutes because I've got some stuff to do. And that's why working from home, it is kind of that double-edged sword because you have the option there.
Yeah.
Where when you come to the office, like you're not going to turn on Netflix or Amazon Prime. You're just going to get your work done and go home.
As brokers, we don't necessarily get days off. We get time off. And so sometimes that can be in the middle of the day and you can take a few hours here and a few hours there. If you need to take a day, what I like to do is put it on the calendar and I treat myself as a client. I will calendar out. No, you have a day that you need to spend and dedicate. So in my calendar, that is actually blocked. But I really want to make sure, especially like you said, in a transaction that's 30 days long, that I'm available for the majority of it. I need to make myself at the drop of a dime able to get a hold of. And so that's real important to me.
Well, and I think the work from home, work from office hybrid flexibility, the impact that has on our family, being able to trust us and rely on us and know that we're flexible for them is huge when we are 30-day transactions and someone might shoot you a text at 10:30 p.m. or maybe 7:30 in the morning, and you kind of roll with that and you're responsive,
Yeah.
and your family understands, hey, if duty calls, you're going to work and we're going to be okay with that. And it's not, hey, you're only going to work 9 to 5 at the office. There might be some flexibility from home. So, it really kind of comes full circle that it works for the whole family that way, I think, because there's understanding and flexibility, and you kind of get that full package when you have the hybrid model.
I worked long hours for years, and they were all over the place. I'd work at 4 a.m. and I'd get off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd get off at 11 at night. And I have the most supportive wife and the best system that I possibly could at home. She's been amazing. And so she understands when I have to drop everything and do something, it's go right ahead. It's I got this. We really do a good job of complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses. So
That's really important to have that support system, because what we do is not easy. It is not without stress. And so being able to keep yourself balanced is a huge component of what we do every day.
Mhm.
Okay, well, shifting topics and kind of sticking with the family theme here, we're embarking on the holiday season, like I alluded to earlier. We just got through our first major holiday with Thanksgiving there. We're coming up into the December, end of the year, final holidays. Happy holidays to whoever's watching, whatever your holiday is.
Mhm.
What are some fun things to do around town? I know we've got an ice skating rink that's popped up seasonally in Olympia down there, only on ice. And then it looks like there's a couple other fun things to do. What do you and your family love doing during this time of year? And what can people go out and do if they're also local?
Yeah, well, my wife and I, we really try and stay active. We do like to get out and go check out the Christmas lights. There's a spot downtown that you can go see lights on 10th Avenue. And there is the Kin Lake housing development that has a ton of homes that go all out. You can go to quite a few places in town and see some of that. Ole on Ice, like you said, is a great way to get out, and it's only here for a limited time. So you really need to go down there when you can. It just opened up, I think, last week, and it's going to stay open through the holiday. And so I really encourage people, go down and experience that, because that is something that nobody else offers. We like to get away on occasion, and so going up to the Point Defiance Zoo and going to see zoo lights has been just a tradition in our family for a long time.
And when it comes to zoo lights, I've only been once, and I can't remember if there's animals there or if it's just lights.
Yeah, they still have the animals, but at night when you go down, it's more about the lighting and the presence there.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
So several cool things to do. The Ole on Ice, if you're into ice skating. I'm maybe not a super graceful ice skater, but it is fun to go out and try something different. Always fun going to the zoo and seeing the animals. And then I think it's called Ole Light Stravaganza, which is on 10th Avenue. They have a Facebook page and everything. It's pretty impressive amount of lights they're putting up there, and kind of fun for just a drive around, maybe to or from the ice rink or something like that.
Yeah, down on the skating rink. If you got to do the stutter step, do the stutter step, but go experience it.
Yeah.
It is a very, very cool thing that they offer, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Definitely good to get out in the community like that too and see who you run into. Last time I went there, I ran into a couple old buddies, and I was like, oh, cool. I am glad I left the house despite all my introverted tendencies to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, we do stay active, but I like to I'll do a quick loop around the lake, or I'll go down to Tumwater Falls and do a loop around there. We like to spend time just kind of getting away, but still in town. And that's one of the great things about the area that we've talked about in the last couple of podcasts that we did, was that you can drive 5 minutes any direction and be rural. And so I do like to make sure that we hit all the parks and have all the fun, because there's a lot that goes into those, and a lot of people that work very hard to open those gates, to landscape the area and do the maintenance on the trails. And so I really encourage people to go out and enjoy them, especially right now. It's the weather's not cold enough to be miserable, but it's not hot enough to be miserable either. It's kind of a sweet spot where throw on a jacket and get out and go experience the town.
Now, and when it comes to holiday decorations, are you putting Christmas lights all over the place on your own home, or are you more like, hey, let's go drive around and check out what the town has to offer?
We do a little bit of both. Our neighborhood, we used to have a neighbor that was in the paper back when the paper was a big thing, and you'd look up where to see Christmas lights in the Olympian.
You're talking about newspaper.
Yeah,
Okay.
the old, the real thing.
Yeah.
That dad would read and have coffee on Sunday morning.
Right. What's black and white and red all over?
Yeah.
Newspaper.
So we used to have a neighbor that went all out, and he had an absolutely fantastic light show. And so all the rest of the neighborhood felt compelled that we now had to at least do our part to support him. And so, yeah, we'll put up our Christmas lights every year. Some of our neighbors, they do a whole lot. I put up my strip last week.
Yeah.
We put Halloween away, and we got, our Christmas and
So
winter
you have
stuff
that fine line. You're not trying to sneak the Christmas tree in there before the turkey is done.
Oh, no. Yeah. Thanksgiving is the starting point for us. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
No
Yeah. I used
sooner.
to love putting lights up growing up as a kid, and being able to do it on your own home is always a fun thing.
We
So.
leave Halloween up as long as we can. That's our holiday at home.
Okay.
And we thoroughly enjoy that. So yeah, as long as we can stretch the Halloween season out, we do. And then we'll roll right into
Have you seen some of those decorations with the 20-foot skeleton pulling the lights on the top of the house?
Yeah.
Some people are trying to repurpose those.
Yeah.
Some of those things.
Turn them into the Grinch and
That's right.
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's definitely a fun time of year. Great to spend time with family. Always fun to connect with you. And one last thing I do want to mention before we hop off. You just released a brand new website where people can see tons of really valuable information. And go ahead and tell me a little bit more about the contents of this website and kind of your idea or your motivation behind it.
Well, my goal was to compile everything and all my thought process and all the resources that I have into one place. I wanted to simplify it, and I wanted to make it available for everybody that's local to be able to look up, or even if they're not, and I want to talk to somebody, say I'm talking to somebody in another state that's looking to move here. Well, go ahead and check this out. There's a whole lot of stuff available there. So right now it's called The Realm. The website may change, but PNW, Pacific Northwest Realm.com is where you can look that up.
And so basically this is a list of like different contractors, different local service providers. And I would say this is almost more valuable to somebody who isn't local, because then they can get a list of, hey, what's in the area that I might need? What are some resources of like electricians, plumbers, photographers, like all that kind of stuff you have linked in there, people that you actually know and have an experience with. So kind of a little bit of your network and your database plugged into this website.
That's exactly what it is I've lived here my entire life. I've worked with a lot of these people. A lot of these people have worked on my personal home, and I've got relationships with them. So what I want to do is make sure that after we finish putting you into a home, or if we're going through the process of selling your home and you need somebody, here's a list of people that I feel can do a decent job. Get a hold of them. If they don't do a good job, get a hold of me. I'll be getting a hold of them. But for the most part, everybody that I've got on there has been very reliable and gives realistic pricing, which is great. But the whole website is broken down into all the resources that I offer, because I do try and be a full service agent. I will go above and beyond at any possible chance that I can. If I get the opportunity to do more, I will pile it on myself. And it's been nice to take this website now and build on that.
Awesome. Well, we'll put a link to the website. I really like it. I think the layout is beautiful. It looks really polished and professional.
Thank you.
You've done a great job, and you're a man after some of my own passions, because I know you did that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I've built a couple websites myself, which is, I don't want to say it's hard, but it's painstaking, and there's a lot of little nuancing and fine details and formatting to make sure it looks just the way it looks in your head on the website. Sometimes the pictures don't always scale. So there's a lot that goes into that stuff. So I commend you on the great job for your website. And if people want to check that out, we'll have a link here on the bottom of the video. So
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a great learning experience, and you've done a great job of putting all this together. This is extremely professional, and you guys can't see it, but I'm telling you, the amount of equipment that's in here is impressive. And he's even got a screen that's sideways that fits an 8x5 by 11 piece of paper, which to me is, it was so normal to him, but to me, that's a mind-blowing idea. I'm like, why do more people not do that? It's going to streamline processes so much now when I take that and go apply it to my own job. So I'm picking up things from you every day.
Well, that's awesome. It's great that we've kind of found a friendship within our community, kind of with our business goals are aligned, and we found out, oh, hey, we have so much in common, and oh, wait, like we have all these high school, like it's just funny once you meet somebody in your local area that you didn't know, and it turns out like it feels like you did know each other because you have all these things in common. So
I can connect everybody in this town more than likely through 3 people.
Yeah. So it's, once you get local, the degrees of separation get smaller and smaller, and everyone's even more close. So cool. Well, thanks for coming on for another podcast. I'm sure we'll have a couple more coming out soon. And happy holidays, Nathaniel.
Yeah. Happy holidays to you and you.
Take care.